Let's do this. Where's my mic? Alright.
Sup, you guys? This is Blue, and this is the Hi, How Are You podcast, self help for the uninitiated, where for 10 minutes a week max, someone even lazier and perhaps even less busy than you tries to tell you that you deserve to treat yourself better. Where the two of us hold each other accountable. Accountability buddies. Yeah, yeah. I like that. Let me make it simple. I'm socially inept. I mean, I always knew it, but I either dealt with it or I didn't. And in most cases, if I could help it, I didn't. So if you're here, it's because you're like me. And maybe you feel like you've just hit a wall. Maybe your last relationship ended because you could never garner the courage to go to her family get-togethers because the thought of making the rounds made your heart want to jump out of your chest. Maybe one of your closest friends didn't understand why social situations were overwhelming and assumed that you were just uninterested, distant, and apathetic. Maybe someone judged you because you had a nervous tic you might not have even been aware of, and now that they've mentioned it, it makes you insecure and closed off. Social situations are hard, but sometimes they're even more difficult for certain people. So if you're here, hopefully, it's because you hope to gain something from my own journey. The ups and downs, the fears, the strengths, through feelings of self-doubt and confidence. I'm almost 30 years old, and I feel like my own mental blocks have prevented me from becoming a truly happy person in all aspects, in both my personal and professional life. But I'm determined to rewire my thinking and overcome this notion that I can't be the self-assured person that I know I can be. I expect to fuck up a lot. I expect to have bad days and good days, but we all do, and that's a big part of it. This is a vulnerable expression of my biggest insecurities. But since I have a few real-life friends these days, I'm willing to put myself out there for anybody else who might be willing to listen. And maybe somebody else's experiences will help me learn how to grow. I considered making a short story long, but I think this time I'll work on the Cliff Notes version. Even though I've always known I was bad in social situations, I didn't recognize how bad it really was until I met someone who, quote, held a mirror up to me. In a way, I tried to nurture that friendship because I assumed that this was someone who could be somewhat sympathetic or maybe even a confidant, but our methods of communication were too different, and she grew tired of it pretty quickly. At first, I took it personally. I felt misled, and because I clung so deeply to the words she'd said, it was difficult for me to understand how someone could be so, in my eyes, callous. I realized that it wasn't really her problem. And it's not like I hadn't gone through a breakup before. It was the fact that this person had pointed out something in myself that dredged up every insecurity, made me feel like she was on my side, and then walked away from the situation. So it took a little time to take a good look at myself and how I could have been a better communicator, more emotionally available, and overall just a better friend. My anxiety damaged what could have been a potentially decent friendship, but because I was always in my own head, second-guessing every word and action, I couldn't connect with this person, and I just didn't understand why. But what I did start to recognize was that this was not unique to her. With most people I'm not comfortable with, I tend to be completely self-conscious, which affected how I interacted with these people. So why am I doing this? Because I'm fucking sick of it, goddammit. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with who I am because I haven't learned to be comfortable and confident with who I am. I was dropping out of classes that required any form of public speaking. Do you think this is a joke? Do you believe me when I say that if I looked at a syllabus that showed any presentation was due, I either dropped the class or I made up some catastrophic event as to why I couldn't do it? Usually worked until one of my teachers one day just forced me to do this. I think in a way that was probably my first stepping stone. I used to skip callbacks for job interviews because there was just no way in hell, absolutely no way. Oh, you mean dress up in some business casual to business Hillary Clinton style pantsuit and sell myself to someone twice my age while they take notes about me and decide whether or not I'm good enough for this job? Oh, that? Oh, that? Now.com/nope. When meeting new people online because that's the only way I could meet new people, and still is now that I think about it, I've flaked a lot. I ruined a lot of things that could have had potential. It wasn't really a good look for me. But since I've realized this, I've picked up some good habits to help combat the stress, anxiety, and depression that came along with feeling sorry for myself. First of all, I downloaded this app called Productive to reinforce good habits I wanted to create. I started small, drink water morning, afternoon, evening. Once I got that into rotation and tried incorporating reading, namely recommended self-help books, but before I did that, I had to pay some stupid little library fine. Stupid 20-cent late fees. I have a list of books ready to go, and trust me when I say that this has been hard. The last book I remember reading in its entirety was when I was a senior in high school, and it was The Notebook. And I only did it because I had a lot of spare time when I was in in-school suspension. I've also started meditating, but that'll be another episode. Next time I'll definitely be talking more about Productive because it's an excellent, straightforward app that reinforces positive habits. I mean, really, you're fucking around on your phone anyway. You may as well use this app. It's free. I'm typically the laziest person I know, but this, more than anything, has helped me keep track of my growth. Sometimes the simplest things make the biggest impact, so you're only playing yourself if you don't take 5 to 10 minutes to let me tell you about a free app. I'm also really excited about the wide range of topics we get to talk about because there's a lot that comes along with having to be honest with yourself. I know that I'm not a perfect person. Wait, am I even allowed to sing that? Is this going to be pulled? I'm not perfect, but I've acknowledged and admit this. But I also know that I deserve better for myself mentally, emotionally, physically. I've been neglecting myself for too long now, guys. Will someone else admit that it's probably time to do something about it? I smoke a lot of weed. Am I going to finally learn that perhaps it's actually a demotivator? Will I be forced to stop? Hint, probably not, but it's something that I think about. Baby steps, guys. Baby steps. Okay, this went on for too long. You may as well listen to my next podcast where I force Productive down your throat. And before you say anything, no, I'm not getting paid to advertise them, at least not at the time of this recording. So Productive, if you're listening, you know what to do.